all the nerds.
So last weekend we had the chance to actually visit one of the first ever Montreal video game conventions. It was called High Score Con?
High Score Con, yeah. Exactly.
So, what did you guys think of it?
Well, since it was the first con ever in Montreal about only video games, it wasn't so bad. Like,
it had its ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure. I'm like, it sounds promising for the next year, actually.
And we had the chance to have the early bird special, so we got a nice little pin. A little more expensive, but it was the VIP treatment. We got to be there while people were still setting up.
I was wondering about that, because you're like, we gotta go early, right? And I'm like, oh, really? And we get there like an hour early, so like it was cool that like there's not many people there. We had a chance to look around before anyone else, and because there's so few people there, we could actually take our time and look around.
Actually, some of the retailers were still like unpacking.
A couple of them, but not like most of them were set up already, which was cool.
Which that's basically what you get at any con. There's always an early access, and it's always more expensive. It's a VIP.
Yeah.
But I wanted us to participate as being the first video game convention.
You wanted a pin.
I wanted the pin.
Well, yeah, because is this the first all video game related convention in Montreal? Because
as far as I know,
as far as I know, I mean, I'm not a huge convention person, so I wouldn't know exactly.
Did it do well? Because I heard it was maybe 700 people.
So 6 something.
Yeah. It was 650.
That's not bad, actually.
Plus.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad.
Yeah,
that's really not bad.
Good. Considering when we were there, it wasn't like jam packed. Even at 10 when it opened, there wasn't like a lineup.
It must have because it was on all day, so it must have carried on throughout the day.
It was until 5.
So yeah, even
most people go like around 2, 3.
Yeah, even Montreal Comic Con only got about 700 people at their like third one or something like that. Mm-hmm. So 700 on the first day is like.
Personally, I liked it, but it was downs. I liked the fact that it was quality items, but not enough retailers to fill the room, and so he had to fill it with like jewelry, how do you call it, like apparels or small stuff that like little posters,
truly related products, but not related. Actual video game
stuff.
Which is normal because again, it's the first con related to video games, and you need to book them.
And that's another thing. Them. We know a retailer that would have been great at the con, but he was not contacted.
We don't know if he was contacted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we don't. He wasn't there, and we feel like it would have been a great addition to it.
Well, honestly, if we have another one, I will.
I
will at least like try to nudge and say, "Hey, did you check out this guy here?" or even send the information over to that guy and say, "Hey,"
because the guy was alone to organize it, right? Like maybe
I don't know if he did it alone. But I know it was his baby. He was the one that he works and does the Retro Expo that we've gone to. And he wanted to do something different, wanted to do a video game one, since, again, we have never had one in here in Montreal.
I've never seen any anywhere else, personally.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But that'll be cool to see this one expand. Like like every convention starts in a hotel lobby. That's how it goes. Yeah. But there's that other room around the hotel lobby which is huge. Start filling that up with consoles and stuff, and then if they could get a bigger place like Place des Arts or Palais de Congrès, I went to French for a second, and see just video game related get bigger and bigger in Montreal. And then just have bring in the actual companies, Ubisoft and EA and all that, and they'll start promoting their own things. That's like way in the future, obviously.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere.
But exactly, it has to start somewhere. But it'll be really cool to see it expand.
But then, do you really want it to get too big, too mainstream?
Hopefully, because the thing.
What happens with with
soul and then?
Because Montreal Comic Con, it's Comic Con's. Regardless, they were comic book things, and now they're more like
diluted.
It's really diluted. Do you really want to do something like a little convention like this? Turn it super big? Is it worth it?
Yeah, I mean,
it has its ups and downs,
pros and cons. But it's.
I'm leaving.
I think it's one of those necessary evils that just kind of happens with conventions and stuff. Sometimes it could get so big but still be great, like Comic-Con International or Fan Expo, and sometimes it could get big and then start to kind of suck. Like personally, I think Montreal Comic-Con is starting to be lax these past few years,
They're selling out recently.
But nature of the beast, I suppose.
I think what would have made the con just a little bit better is if they had some form of like an interest list, just to get opinions from everybody that follows the page to see what everybody is looking for. Since, again, I keep on mentioning it being the first video game convention, it would be a way to help gauge what people are willing to hunt for.
It's really hard for a retailer to bring everything, and we understand that. It's normal. So the fact that sometimes I was looking for something that every single retailer had, but not with them.
Yeah.
And it would have been great to communicate with them and be able to express what I'm looking for. And
yeah. Did you guys get anything while there? Because I got I didn't get much. There was a few things that I really wanted. There was some Castlevanias that I wanted. There was a Castlevania Bloodlines. Looked like it was complete, and I couldn't get it. But I didn't get much. I got a Game Boy Advance SP just because I needed one. And I got a D&D game for PlayStation 1. It's a fighter, like a side-scrolling fighter, and Spawn Armageddon for PS2. Good. Just because they were there, and I was like, cool. Grab those.
Were they good prices?
They were, yeah. I mean,
that's something I want to go into after as well.
Yeah, they weren't overpriced. That's why I was just like, sure, and I picked them up.
What about you, Mark?
Well, honestly, the only thing I picked up for myself were magnets. Ninja Turtle head magnets.
No, they were nice, yeah. So that's a thing that was really interesting, but still not a video game itself.
No, it's video game related merchandise.
Yeah.
And I picked up from my girlfriend the Mario Tennis for N64, and she picked up Tetris Attacks.
Yeah,
for Super Nintendo. Yeah. I don't remember the name of it.
Well, it sounds like that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It's like a mix. Yeah, Tetris Attack. It's like a mix of Tetris with those like Bejeweled type games. You got to match up the symbols, and it's a mix of like those two.
Candy Crush.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I love Tetris.
You know,
I bought a Metal Gear Solid on PS1, a Famicom version of Final Fantasy VI,
which the box was like gorgeous.
Yeah,
for the price that you paid, it was like
Well, that's one of the things I liked for that con is all the prices.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll go back on that. Yeah. And like a Final Fantasy XII on PS2, which is again was like so cheap. It's like okay, sure, why not?
It's like
you got deals. You
got
pretty good deals. Pretty good deals. Like it was something. I personally, because I've been looking for a long time, because Final Fantasy V and VI was never released in North America, and that's where you found the Super Famicom Final Fantasy six in the box. I was waiting for him to put it back down to pick it up, but then there was nothing. But there was that guy that I don't know why, but he was like a Famicom importer. And I thought it was really cool, so I took the chance. Do you have Final Fantasy V and VI? He's like, yeah, sure. Just hands it to me as if he had like 20 copies with him. I've been looking for them. Obviously, I can get them on eBay, but
I wanted to see them out in the wild.
That's what I like.
That's what I like about cons. You don't really see some of that stuff, and that's what draws you in.
Exactly.
To get those items.
Did you end up getting that though? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You did. Okay.
Yeah. And to complete my Final Fantasy, not complete yet. To add to my Final Fantasy collection, I also picked up Pokemon Silver. I cannot wait to play it. I think I never started because it was, I don't know, too much change. I felt fear seeing that my 151 Pokemon jumped to like so many.
What was it? It jumped up to what, 200?
300 something, I think. Yeah.
Not right away. Not at that one.
No, they're at 7 something.
Oh, I know that was.
No, between the original Red and Blue and those ones, you mean?
Yeah.
It jumped right away.
Mm-hmm. And then what else?
Switched to Kanto to Johto, and then it's and then we are like somewhere else.
You're speaking Greek to me. I don't.
And then there was this other guy who was selling in box in a plastic protector. Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 2, 3. I wanted to get
Chrono
them,
Trigger.
but Chrono Trigger,
box.
Fuck. Earthbound as well.
Oh yeah, Earthbound
in box and with the protector. That's what I like, because it wasn't just selling like.
Was that the guy that had them all in plastics and stuff?
Yeah.
That guy's guy's table was so nice.
So expensive, but
I know.
I wanted them all.
He had Resident Evil Survivor and Resident Evil 3, and he had and all and they were all in all the PS1s were all lined up, and all the all the N64s and all the Super Nintendos. Isn't that where you got the Mario Tennis?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was that guy. Yeah, he had a nice setup.
But that guy, if I would have bought for $500 worth of Final Fantasy, I could have completed my collection. But I wouldn't have spent that much, right? But he had every single thing I needed. I just couldn't.
Which still expensive. I saw the prices; they were still worth it because it's still.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say like overpriced. They're just the right price.
Well, for one shot spending.
Oh no, yeah, of course.
Well, speaking of prices, what did you want to go into for?
Well, just like prices in general. Like, I find a lot of video games are overpriced.
Yeah.
And with them being overpriced elsewhere, coming to a convention, were they still overpriced, or did they drop them down? Do you believe they dropped them?
I was happy to see the prices. I don't think they were like overpriced. Even if some of them I was kind of skeptic. I was saying no, that's not true.
But there's always that guy that's every convention, retro convention, who sells like super overpriced and he only brings his doubles.
Yeah.
And
which I've mentioned before, if you're going to bring all your doubles, you're at a convention where you have a lot of people that don't normally go out shopping for stuff. Yeah. Drop the price $5, $10, depends on the game. They're your doubles. Yeah. Clear out your inventory of some of your extra crap. Exactly. Make people happy. Make them want to come back and shop again and shop again and shop again. But there again, will it scare them away from like normal customers buying from them in general? They just say, "Oh, wait a minute! I'll wait till they go to the next convention. I'll get them for half price." And
but what if he's actually making money out of it? What if he's actually selling his games and covering his cost? And
well, good for him though. Either way.
Yeah, well, that's what most people do anyways. They jump their prices to cut in all sorts of costs and making a good buck off of it.
Yeah.
As far as me, I'm like, as far as retro games and stuff go, it's only particular ones that I'm trying to complete certain collections with, like Castlevania I've mentioned and Mortal Kombat. I think that's it actually. Oh, Resident for the newer stuff, Resident Evil, which is kind of like mid to newer stuff.
Talking about that, I'm thinking of starting Zelda. A Zelda collection, but.
So besides Bloodlines, which I mentioned earlier, was like $80, which is the average price for it. That you'll find on eBay and stuff as well. I found a couple of the PS2 and DS games of the Castlevanias, but I found they were overpriced. One of them was was average price, but the other ones were too overpriced for me. That it was like
yeah. I found a.
I'll get Spawn instead.
I found a Final Fantasy Tactics on PS1.
Oh, it was greatest hits.
No. It was a normal one, but it was like the quality wasn't that good.
Yeah,
it was
all
the
damage.
Booklet. Yeah, there was a lot of scratch, and the booklet wasn't nice. It was a good price if it was to be mint, like good quality.
But for what it was, it wasn't.
No, exactly. Yeah, just like the Resident Evil 3 and Survivors was. I wanted them, but I'm pretty sure I can get better for the same price.
A question I have is that I saw a lot of retailers with a lot of boxes that seemed full under the table. Did they maybe not have time to take them out? Not enough space.
Well, if their tables are full, I didn't bother looking through the boxes.
They could just have more of the same thing.
Yeah, or doubles. Yeah. Or special things that you need to ask for.
I'm always curious. I'm always like, I really want to know what's in that box. But
sometimes those are the best deals. Sometimes the things that are hidden underneath the table.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like my deals were actually no. My deals were like hided, kind of. Like my Metal Gear Solid was like
you had to look for it.
Yeah, it was like under like a pile of CDs. I had to go through everything.
But that made it more gratifying when you found it.
I still can't believe it. $12.
I got it a bit damaged for 3 times the price.
Really?
Like not damaged. No, the CD's perfect. The booklet's
the jewel
perfect.
cases the jewel case were broken. So overall, what did you guys think of the convention?
Well, it depends. Well, there's a lot of variables.
Personally, with it being the first one,
yeah. It's good.
We spent a good 2 hours, I'll say, an hour and a half.
Stretched our...
Oh, yeah, and we stretched a lot.
Because we were there early, right when it opened, people were not totally set up. We walked around once where I was filming it, and then I walked around again without filming it, and I walked around it again.
I would hope for a new one, for next one, let's say next year, and I would gladly help them.
Promote it.
Yeah. Well,
because we don't get enough stuff.
Not just promoting, but yes, mostly that I will say. because I'm sure we'll be able to do way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think they'll do it like how he did with the Retro Expo, have 2 a year or just 1 a year?
It all depends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be
depends.
interesting to see. That
Because the first Retro Expo
because how many
was
cons
like a
do
huge
2
success,
cons a
so-
year of the same?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Well, there's the Comic-Con, the Montreal Comic-Con, and then the mini Comic-Con, which is not
Yeah.
the same thing, but...
I've never been to the mini one, so I don't know.
yeah,
but
me neither, but... no, actually, yes. Yeah, we went.
Well, we went to the one that was sort of the hybrid, where it was
Yeah,
mini Comic Con
yeah.
mixed in with Toy Con.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, there is a Toy Con coming out in October,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
which is
they're-
back to its original roots,
Oh, not bad.
which is, as long as it's not just a big Star Trek convention like it normally was, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah,
I really I enjoyed it for what it was. It was the first one, like we've said. It was cool to see how many vendors had so much to offer. I just want to, again, like I say every time with these little cons, I just want to see them get bigger, despite what the outcomes may be.
But what if it stays neutral? It stays the same way
Fine,
for the
either
next
way.
6 years.
Well, neutral.
I'll still go,
Cool.
'cause
well,
it
if
was
it stays the
satisfying.
same way, if it's
Yeah.
not as full, or if it looks the same way and it continues that same route exactly,
Then
that
it's
means
not
there's
bad.
it's not.
no.
If it wasn't doing good, they wouldn't continue.
Exactly.
So they're doing something right, and if that's the case, I think count us all in, right?
Exactly.
And we are,
We are.
and we are
All the nerds.